Good morning. This is the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Wednesday, August 26th. On the impact map today, uh, we have a potpourri of leftover mixed and lightning transitioning to wet, where you see the green here in our far northern areas, as well as the Uintas, and a little bit of isolated in southeast Utah, where it could be on the drier side. We do have an increase in winds, gusty winds, probably 25, maybe some gusts to 35 across central Nevada into parts of western Utah today. Similar wind threat tomorrow, shifts a bit further east, and still lingering winds in our southern areas as we go into Friday. A lot of these areas did have recent lightning. We'll have to watch that for holdovers as well as current active fires, as you'll see in the fire map, all over the place. So the wind and the drying pattern will be the big issue. Now, we had a lot of lightning yesterday. You can see on the right-hand side all across, especially across the northern half of the geographic area, northern Utah, Nevada, up until Wyoming and Idaho, quite a swath. There were some pockets of heavier precipitation where you see the yellow through here. Otherwise, probably a mix of wet and dry, where some of the precip amounts are just a few hundredths of an inch, which of course in timber doesn't always matter. You can always get a lightning fire started or popping up a day or two later as things dry out. Initial attack was moderate to heavy yesterday. New fires in the red, existing recent fires in the yellow. You can see just about all portions of the geographic area now getting influence, including some lightning strikes here in northeast Nevada. Some lightning fires started up here in northern Idaho as well as and western Wyoming. Precipitation, we've had some light precipitation, locally moderate here in southwest Utah. You can see those amounts were a half inch. Otherwise, the light blue is just a hundredth to a tenth of an inch, which is not even a wetting rain in most areas. Percent of normal, still drier than normal across many areas where you see the dark red. Now, our fuels are now in a state of flux with the added humidity and moisture. This ERC chart does not include any precipitation that fell after about 2 p.m. yesterday, so you can see that the purples have disappeared quite a bit. The edge is taken off of a lot of the fuels in northwest Nevada. Still very dry, especially across much of central and eastern Utah into Wyoming. Those will be modified a little bit with precipitation amounts once they come in from yesterday, late yesterday's rains. But you can see we've moistened up quite a bit in western Idaho. The 10-hour fuels show the difference. These were computed yesterday at 1 p.m. You can still see a lot of 3 to 4% and 5 to 6% 10-hour fuels. But look what the projection is for this afternoon. You can see that we take a big hit and moisten up quite a bit in our northern areas. Satellite imagery shows the high pressure, Four Corners high, is flattening out in response to this weak trough of low pressure, and this will usher in drier air and some increasing southwest winds across Nevada, parts of Utah, and the Arizona Strip over the next 2 or 3 days. Still some lingering thunderstorm activity across our eastern areas and our southern areas, some residual monsoonal moisture. Of course, hurricane system now plowing into the Gulf states. For smoke this morning, you can see from the smoke production in California and Oregon and some of our fires, this is the projection this morning, kind of going with that flow pattern. By this afternoon, we should see some drier air working into central Nevada. Some of that smoke, which was quite thick this morning, will start to get a bit more fragmented with the daytime heating and some mixing. So for today, we still have the high risk for lightning up here in Salmon Chalice area, the wilderness area, and also high risk for wind across parts of east central Nevada. You can see that drier air punching here on the left-hand side and the wind gradient increasing in response to this little pressure. You still see this little dot here, still some isolated lightning. So fuels are a bit drier through here, so we could see new starts, and this extends into part of northern Rockies as well. Here is the thunderstorm threat on the right-hand side, where we expect most precipitation will be a mix of wet and dry. And wind, you can see this belt of winds through here coming in, and we probably will see gusts near 30 miles per hour or so. We look at the combined humidity, and in that wind area, you can see the humidity dropping off quite a bit into that 8 to 12% range, even single digits further south, still hovering above 20 or 25% in our northern areas. Now for tomorrow, you can see the fire potential is modified here with a couple of days of clouds and moisture. Still critically dry here to the south. A bit more moisture here, of course, our far southern areas. That's where there is some lingering quasi-monsoonal moisture, but we still see that dry air punching in. You can see those winds here now shifting more into southern and western Utah. You can see there's still strips of precipitation possibly later in the afternoon. You can see the humidity, again, driest in our southern areas, single digits to low teens, and starting to dry out a bit up in western Idaho as well. Now, we see just a kind of a breakdown of all weather patterns. Just overall, we have the high pressure still trying to develop in the four corners through here. Drier air pushing into northern areas right now. You can see there's still some breezy winds down in our far southern areas of Nevada. Precipitation, any leftover convective activity moving out of eastern Idaho and western Wyoming. You can see very dry conditions where fuels will bounce back quickly across southern areas, and still getting into the upper teens in western Idaho, so that we could see holdovers. That probably would be the most likely area, but the higher humidity still lingers from eastern Idaho to western Wyoming. The 3-day precipitation totals, you can see them through here. Still some good amounts, especially up in the mountains of central Idaho and western Wyoming. Lighter amounts further south. Further down the road on Saturday, you can see in northern Rockies they have a risk for high winds. There's a dry cold front pushing through there, so we should see winds increasing in our northern areas. We haven't high-risked it yet. We'll see how the models evolve. Some moisture across our eastern areas. And then there's that northwesterly dry push of air behind the cold front. Temperatures will drop about 15 to 20 degrees from where they've been the last few days, which would be a pleasant break, but there's also drier air and breezy conditions in parts of Idaho, western Wyoming, northern Nevada, where we've had recent lightning, and that those winds and dry air pushes southwards Monday into Tuesday. Dry air across the area. It will be cooler temperature-wise, and another dry cold front poised up here in the north. You can see how our fire potential and fuels have bounced back quite a bit. Precipitation accumulation from Saturday to Sunday night, not much through here except maybe the parts of the Arizona Strip, far eastern Utah. We do see some chances of monsoonal moisture returning to our far southern and eastern areas for Monday into Tuesday, and also there might be some precipitation mostly just north of our area, but it dries out quite a bit as you head further south. That's with that cold front. It's not purely dry. There is some precipitation. We expect most of it to stay in the northern half of Idaho and into Montana. The 8 to 14-day outlook shows cooler than normal temperatures. Strong couplet here and warmer than normal across the west. That signifies maybe some good wind events with similar flow patterns coming out of the northwest. But most of that moisture should stay to our north. We're forecasting drier than normal conditions going into early September. This concludes our briefing. Have a great day.